Brown adipose tissue is something I've mentioned in a couple of my videos. In today's video, I wanted to talk about it. I've got some slides actually from somebody who you've probably seen in my comment section, Patient Advocate Help. I've got his slides he sent me. Wanted to give him credit. I'll link him down in the description section, maybe even the comment section if I remember. So go check him out. But I wanted to talk about this. I'm going to give a little brief synopsis of probably what's going on right now with the brown adipose. So every person is born with it, and it's like something like 8% of your body weight when you are an infant. And then as you grow up, it becomes much, I think it stays the same size or something like that, because it's only like 0.9% or something like that of your body weight by the time you are just an adult. And as you age, it seems to become less and less active because of the diet we're eating. Some of the things that actually seem to increase it, I will talk about at the end here. I'm also going to talk about statin medications for a brief second, and then that'll be that. So hopefully you enjoy this. If you do, subscribe, like, comment down below, because otherwise YouTube doesn't consider this a real video. But I wanted to just kind of give a brief synopsis of brown adipose tissue. So what it does is it is like a garbage disposal almost of your body. So it can just take all that extra food, if you have extra food, and just turn it into heat. And this is what McDougall was referring to, is if you know, in that one old video of his where he's like, even if I did eat all this, you know, it wouldn't matter because it would just turn to heat. Well, somebody like him, his brown adipose tissue was working, I'm assuming. Somebody like myself or some of the other people that you see on my channel who have weight loss journeys, probably not working all that well at all. And another thing that won't work as well if your brown adipose tissue isn't working is your immune system. So you'll either get sick more often or you won't get sick at all. And then once your immune system does start working, you're going to get sick like one after the other because it was like trapped in your body. Another thing that you're going to notice is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, because your liver is getting more glucose than it's really supposed to. So what in a normal, ideal situation in the human body that has been the human body up until like the late 80s, what would happen is you would eat food and your brown adipose tissue would burn a lot of it. And then whatever it didn't use, this is what I'm going off of what I've read. It would send to the liver. The liver would get the glucose it needed. It wouldn't be overburdened with the glucose, and then everything else functioned correctly. But when the brown adipose tissue isn't working correctly, your liver has to do everything that the brown adipose tissue is supposed to do. So a lot of the other systems of the body don't work correctly because they're not being fed correctly. Some of the things that I think I'll talk about it, but some of the things that turn brown adipose tissue off is high fructose corn syrup, prescription drugs, and rancid seed oils, which is heavy on our food since the late 80s. I remember this happening. I remember because the 80s was a time of almost bragging about how much money you spent for your dinners, because my dad, actually, I talked to my dad because my dad was part of this. He worked in a retail food place and a food distribution place, and then he got me into it years later. But I also remember like fat started getting demonized, and they were having all these, you know, food experts and skinny people come on and tell us that you know, you shouldn't eat any fat. Fat is bad. Fat is bad. And they started. And now the thing is here is the propagandist also made a film talking about how bad sugar was, but they didn't replace the fat in things with sugar. They replaced it with high fructose corn syrup, which deactivates brown adipose tissue. So that set us up for failure, because you didn't see any fat people really eat up until the 2000s. That's when it really started coming around. And here's, I'm going to start with one slide here. And this right here, a mouse without it and a mouse with. So this mouse has, you know, brown adipose. This mouse does not. They were fed the exact same diet. And this one obviously fared better, and this one did not. Now, there's also pictures about this where it basically reverted a mouse's age by having brown adipose tissue installed, essentially. So that is the difference with the exact same diet. This is the difference between these mice. This one, same diet. This one, same diet. Food that we eat is not getting broken down properly when you don't have brown adipose tissue because it's supposed to take the brunt of it. Matter of fact, I think it was fed first. I don't know. I know there's a lot of questions that I still have about this, but I really want it because I feel like this topic is going to be massive one day. Not too far off with this brown adipose tissue. So I wanted to get into the slides here. So the 12 symptoms of brown adipose tissue dysfunction: overweight, obese, weight loss resistance, gain weight easily, high LDL, 150 plus, plaque development in arteries, elevated HbA1c, pre-diabetic, diabetes, muscle loss or can't increase muscle, insulin resistant, elevated blood glucose, low testosterone, elevated myostatin, and systemic inflammation lowers testosterone, brain fog, memory loss, cognitive decline, depression, anxiety, and hedonia. I don't know what that means. Unrestful sleep, not refreshed upon waking, low vitamin D, autoimmune diseases, and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. 50% of Americans have it. And don't forget, this is Patient Advocate Help. I think I said his name. I know his actual name, so I always forget what his, company name is. Patient Advocate Help. So this is the first slide that I'm going to go over. And I think a lot of people who are in my comments sections, the ones that aren't bots and the ones that aren't proclaiming that they're 130 pounds, are going through this, some part of this, if not all of this. And all of this has come about because one of our main, like our savior organ, the brown adipose tissue, is not functioning. This is why they were starting to do the cold plunges and all these other crazy things to try to get it to work. But if your brown adipose tissue isn't working at all, cold plunging can actually cause a fatal event. So that's not a very good idea. I tried doing it for a very long time, and I got to tell you, it was stressing me out bad. See the list, you might be surprised. Brown adipose tissue inactivation signs, brown adipose tissue dysfunction, related conditions, brown adipose tissue inactivation symptoms. I feel like it's a lot of the same words. Weight gain, insulin resistant, weight loss resistance, leptin resistance, FGF21 resistance, overweight, obesity, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, elevated blood glucose, increased HbA1c, T3 deficiency. Now, this one in particular, doctors do not care. For whatever reason, if your T3 is low, if you can even get them to test your T3, they're like, oh yeah, well you're older, so it's supposed to go down. And it's just like they just don't even know what to say. Hypothyroidism, low testosterone, muscle loss, sarcopenia, myopathy, myalgia, muscle cramps. Oh, no shit. No matter how much magnesium I take, muscle cramps are just a part of my life. Muscle stiffness. I'm not even gonna. Reduced exercise tolerance, muscle atrophy, loss of strength, increased FGF23, elevated myostatin, depression, memory loss, cognitive impairment, brain fog, Alzheimer's, sleep disturbances, insomnia, unrestful sleep, wake up often, sleep apnea, hyperlipidemia, HDL, high, wow, I don't even know what I just did there. High LDL, high cholesterol, low HDL. Man, I got that same fucking thing. High triglycerides. I should show you my blood results. I literally have that going on right now. My HDL is under normal. My HDI is, or LDL, man, what do I keep doing with this word? LDL is over normal. My high cholesterol and my triglycerides are way off the charts. high ApoB, high LPA, elevated liver enzymes, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, low DHA, linoleic acid accumulation, elevated branched chain amino acids, elevated AGE, which I've had that before, low vitamin D3. A lot of us have that. Endoplasmic reticulum stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, systemic low-grade inflammation, denervation of muscle tissue, which I've got, increased load of obesogenic Staphylococcus aureus. So the whole smorgasbord of shit that you don't want. So that's my second slide. So actually, you know what? I'm going to put this right here. Take a screenshot of this or whatever. Again, patient advocate help. Hopefully I've said it enough in this video. I will link him down below. For the best brown adipose fat education, patient advocate help. Brown adipose activating diets, fruit sugar diet, rice resistant diet. I think he wants you to cook the rice and then eat it the next day. I think that's what he means there. Egg fasting, not keto based. Sardines, fatty fish, scallops, potato diet, salad bat diet, soup bat diet. Major diseases caused by brown fat inactivation. Some of this is redundancy. Obesity, insulin resistance, leptin resistance, overweight. I feel like that's the same thing. Diabetes, mold toxicity, hyperlipidemia, high LDL, depression, sarcopenia, chronic fatigue, CAD, don't know what that is, cancer, Lyme disease, hypertension, lung haulers. 18 prescription meds that inactivate BAT. There's only 6 here. Statins, antacids, antidepressants, birth control, glucocorticoids, pain medications, and opioids, and 12 other drugs. So that's the long and short of it, really. And then you'll have IL-6 in the blood. I think he sent me a slide. All right, so here we are with interleukin-6. What increases IL-6? Brown fat inactivation, main cause. Ultra-processed foods, high fructose corn syrup, glyphosate, nanoplastics, mold toxins, chronic persistent intracellular Staphylococcus aureus, vitamin D deficiency, Lyme disease, sedentary lifestyle, don't have that. Chronic persistent intracellular H. pylori, chronic persistent intracellular Pseudomonas aeruginosa, I don't know what that word is, aeruginosa, chronic persistent intercellular Aspergillus fumigatus, chronic viral infections, SARS, this word, HIV, influenza, herpes, hepatitis, HBV, and others. I mean, a lot of us are going through this. And I know a lot of people on YouTube who will, including myself, will lose weight, and then it comes right back. And then they'll lose weight, and it'll come right back. And I had to take a step back because I watched it kill my grandmother, constantly going back and forth like that. Not a good thing. And then the last slide that I wanted to talk about, because it does affect the brown adipose tissue. Man, this is a lot of things to read. Side effects of statins. Statins are really bad. Like, they're really not good. And my parents, and I think a lot of people's parents, are on them for absolutely no reason. Nobody knows why they put them on them, but they did.
Rash, hives, itching, depression, irritability, constipation, weight gain, inactivates brown fat, indigestion, acid reflux, pancreatitis, kidney failure, hepatotoxicity, elevated liver enzymes, ALS, like syndrome, alopecia, interstitial lung disease, lupus-like autoimmune reaction, severe mood or behavioral changes, non-alcoholic fatty liver, progression, myalgia, myopathy, muscle loss, sarcopenia, whatever that word is, myositis, muscle cramps, muscle stiffness, reduced exercise tolerance. This one I have really bad. I just cannot do exercise hardly. Fatigue, tendinitis, tendon rupture, peripheral neuropathy, memory loss, cognitive impairment, brain fog, sleep disturbances, insomnia, vivid dreams. But I'm not even on statins. increased blood sugar, new onset type 2 diabetes, increased HbA1c, reduced CoQ10 levels, reduced testosterone, reduced pregnenolone, reduced progesterone, reduced cortisol, lower vitamin D activation, nausea, abdominal pain, diarrhea, nightmares, headaches, dizziness, and mood changes.
I mean, really, that's the video. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it other than the lizards play the long game, and until we catch up, it's not going to work in our favor. The lizards can wear different masks. They don't age. They don't care. So this is where we're at. This is Brown Adipose Tissue 101. I realized that some of it sounded like I had no idea what I was talking about, and that's part because I don't. Some of it is new to me. I've been just looking into this, but I think it's new to a lot of people. And I don't think that the doctors, I mean, the other day I was at my doctor's, and she was, she's like, well, is there anything I can help you with? I said, why would I ask you for help? You're like 40 years behind what I know. And she kind of just begrudgingly shook her head that, yeah. So, I mean, 40 years from now, I'll be 85. I won't give a shit about any of this. So it's just, if I make it to 85, you know? So it's just like, you got to look into this on your own. Here's some information. That's my video. Hopefully this gave you at least some food for thought, maybe some things to do. Now, when I talked to him, he said that you can't really mix these diets. This fruit, I can't believe I now just found this. The fruit sugar diet, the rice resistant starch, egg fasting, sardine, fatty fish, scallops, potato diet, salad bat diet, soup bat diet. Now, I'd like to have him on here to kind of explain more of this stuff because he researches it more than I do. But I have a feeling that brown adipose tissue, brown fat, is going to be a very big subject in the coming months, years, and decades because we're kind of realizing what's happening and it's not great. Anyway, talk to you in the next video. Peace. Comments, questions. Matter of fact, if you made it this far, ask some questions if you feel like it about this, and maybe I can get him on here. We can do like a video. Anyway, talk to you in the next one.